So what if your technology category isn't on the list? So we've got a mechanism in place to allow manufacturers or suppliers to apply to have their category assessed against the higher level objectives of the water technology list. So you can do that by submitting a new product application on the website through the same portal as I just showed you there. What is it we actually look for in a new technology category? Well, there's some specific scheme criteria against which we assess a new category. So I'll just go through these quickly, but it must have a positive water conservation or quality outcome that's lasting and measurable, so it's over a longer period of time. It needs to be classed as plant and machinery. The equipment must not be eligible for other incentive schemes. So, for example, there might be pieces of, there might be products that are that have components in it that are eligible for other schemes, like the Energy Technology List, which is a similar scheme, an enhanced capital allowance scheme for energy efficient equipment. So we need to manage these issues. It must be possible to define the equipment in a clear and ambiguous way to reduce the burden on the claimant. Market penetration must be relatively low, less than 30%, sometimes lower than that depending on the market, so that the ECA acts as an incentive for people to actually invest in the equipment. Equipment must be deployable in more than one establishment or more than one industry sector. The technology must be proven and not experimental, and hence risk of promotion of wrong solutions is minimized. The use of the equipment must not have negative environmental public health side effects. So we don't want to see products, for example, that are very water efficient, however, replace water with a particularly harmful chemical. Value for money from supporting technologies. For example, it must be there must be good water savings against the cost of the equipment. And it must also demonstrate environmental benefits to be accrued with ECA support, i.e. do we see absolute water savings when the technology is installed, or are there reductions in other impacts, particularly if we can quantify those. So just as an example, a new technology category, standardised grey water recovery and reuse equipment, was added last year. So grey water is wastewater basically from baths, showers, wash basins and laundry. So not your kitchens, toilets or industrial processes. But once treated, grey water can be used for non-potable uses such as toilet flushing, garden watering, laundry use or vehicle washing. So we're now accepting applications from manufacturers for products to appear on the water technology list. So this refers specifically to standardised grey water recovery and reuse equipment, by which we mean packaged and or site-assembled domestic grey water treatment equipment, where all prefabricated components are factory or site assembled by one manufacturer and tested as a single unit. So in other words, it doesn't include bespoke grey water systems or individual components of systems. So any applications for bespoke grey water systems should be made under the water reuse category, which I'll come on to now. So the wastewater recovery and reuse systems category allows bespoke systems to be assessed against the criteria to determine eligibility for the enhanced capital allowance scheme. So the equipment must recover at least 40% of wastewater received by the system, and it's the company investing in the system that must demonstrate that the system meets the eligibility criteria, rather than the manufacturers themselves, which is in the case of the product list. So the reason for this category is that the most appropriate technology will be different for different sites, depending on the level of treatment required, which is directly related to the characteristics of the site effluent and the application required for the treated water. So we're talking about bespoke systems rather than products here. And as such, a certification scheme is required for water reuse systems that meets the eligibility criteria in order for them to claim ECA. So as the technology follows a systems application process, it's possible to claim enhanced capital allowances on the whole water reuse system. So that's going to include any ancillary equipment required to ensure the functionality of the system. For example, the membrane unit or a membrane unit, necessary pre-treatment equipment required to prepare the wastewater for treatment, and any necessary post-treatment equipment to ensure water quality for reuse applications. It also includes things like replacement membranes and groundworks as well. So as these can be expensive components of the system, the total value of the enhanced capital allowance can have significant impact on the payback period, which will encourage greater investment. So we'll go through a case study later on just to give you an idea of what the savings are that can be achieved from such a system.